Good morning, everybody. Whenever I get up to speak and I'm last, I usually like to say the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And then I'm first this morning, so I don't want to say the first shall be last and the last shall be first. But somebody has to start it off, so I'm happy to do so this morning. I am Judge Donna CARR. I'm a judge on the 9th District Court of Appeals, and I have been your 9th District Court of Appeals, your Medina appellate judge for the past 19 years. And I'm very blessed to serve on the Court of Appeals, and I am running unopposed this term. So if I get one vote, I will win. So I'm hoping that one of you here today will be the person that puts me over the top. And but I really wanted to come out and just be here and try to be responsive to any questions that you may have later in the session, as well as just to say thank you. Thank you for all the years of support that you've given me. And I remember being at this event before, and it was a very lovely event, and everyone treated me very well, and I'm happy to come back. I wish maybe it was a little bit later in the day. I know. I'm just a later riser. But at any rate, no, it's good. It's a good thing, and I really appreciate being here. And I just want to tell you just a little bit. As I told you, I've been on the bench for 19 years on the Court of Appeals. Before that, I was a municipal judge for 3 years. So I've been a judge for around 22 years. And I love what I do, and I'm still as passionate about it as I was the day I started, and I think actually more so. So I really enjoy it. The Court of Appeals, just to give you a little overview, is the Middle Appellate District. I'm almost out of time. The Middle Appellate District, a middle court that handles all the cases where people may lose and they have a right to appeal. It's Wayne, Medina, Lorain, and Summit. And my future colleague will be talking next, Judge Lynn Callahan, so she can tell you more about it. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I am Judge Lynn Callahan. I will be your 9th District Court of Appeals judge beginning next February. I don't say that out of arrogance. I say that because by some God-given miracle, I am running unopposed. I'm not going to question it. I just am thankful for it. I am currently a Summit County Common Pleas Court judge. I am a Judge Collier, all right? Not quite as animated, although sometimes we compete with one another. I have been a judge, a trial court judge for 19 years now, a little over 19 years. I started on the Akron Municipal Court bench where I spent 11 years, and then 8 years on the Summit County Common Pleas Court bench. Prior to that, I was an Akron police officer and assistant Summit County prosecutor. I think maybe because of my time as a police officer, I kind of feel like you should go up through the ranks, and the most logical place to go as a judge from municipal court to common pleas court would then be the Court of Appeals, and that's why I ran for the Court of Appeals. I am rated excellent by our Bar Association. I've been endorsed by police organizations and labor unions, and I am really looking forward to a new job. I am a former Kiwanis member. I say former because after 3 years, I frankly just couldn't keep up with what was necessary. I don't believe in putting things on a resume just to have them on a resume. I believe in being an active participant, and when I found that I wasn't doing what I should have been doing, I, just felt that it was best not to be a member anymore rather than, you got to do, not just say you are. So that's why I'm a former member. I thank you all for doing what you're doing and for having me here today, and look at that. Ding-a-ling. I still had time. Thank you.
Good morning. Very early. I was thinking about a case that I argued in front of the Ohio Supreme Court a few years ago, and while I was waiting to argue, I had to listen to lawyers who were way more my senior, who had done this before, talking about what I could expect during oral argument. And I heard a story about Judge Wright, and he was questioning a lawyer about a case, and the lawyer's cell phone went off and started ringing. And the lawyer was so nervous, he couldn't figure out how to turn it off while he was in the middle of giving his argument. So Judge Wright finally said to him, "You might as well get that, could be $1 million case." I've been practicing law for 25 years. Before I was a lawyer, I was a captain in the Marine Corps Infantry. My whole life has been about service, taking care of other people. I'm running for judge because I believe that the Court of Common Pleas is a place where people should be able to go and get predictable results that are just and fair. I believe that the way to handle the court is to take the focus off the judge, put it on the jury, the evidence, the prosecutors, and the lawyers. If I'm a judge, I'm going to hold the litigants to high performance standards. I will expect everybody to know the law and be prepared for the case, and I expect the jury will see the courtroom as a serious place of business. I have tried probably every kind of case you can try as a lawyer. Just yesterday, I was working in St. Clairsville, Ohio, which is down on the West Virginia-Ohio border. I think if we moved our depositions another mile to the east, we would have been working the case in West Virginia. I litigate all over Ohio and Texas. And pretty much every kind of case there is, from assault to zoning, I've worked on it. And I have a vast array of experience, and I think I'm highly qualified for this job, and I do hope you elect me on Election Day. Thank you.
2 minutes, you ready? Good. Oh, pardon?
Ready.
Ready, good. My name is Judge Chris Collier. I've been a Common Pleas Court judge here in Medina County, your Common Pleas Court judge, for nearly 18 years. I've been practicing law for 37 years. Oh my gosh, I'm old. I'm supposed to be introducing myself, but you know me, right? You know me, maybe, because I speak to service organizations like this regularly. I think it's important for a judge to get out of the courtroom and get into the schools. And so I speak to high schools and elementary schools and service organizations like the Kiwanis or the LYNNs, because it's important to show you what goes on in the courtroom and let you see what happens in there. Second, maybe you know me because you've been one of my jurors. I have about 5,000 jurors come through my courtroom every year. Jurors are the backbone of the justice system, and without you, it doesn't work. If you're a juror in my courtroom, you know what I think of you. Maybe you know me because, unfortunately, you might have a son or a daughter or a relative who is addicted to drugs and alcohol. About 13 years ago, I started Medina County's first drug court, and now I run an early intervention program. Drug addiction is the engine of crime in Medina County, and we need to disassociate drug addiction from the addict and bring our sons and daughters back into the community and do what's right for them. And in these ways, maybe I've affected the community. Maybe I've affected you a little bit, but here's something you don't know. You affect me. Every day when I get up, I think of you. I hold this job in trust, and have for the 18 years. Hold this job in trust for the community through you. I'm the luckiest man in the world because I have this job. I love this job and I work very hard at it, but I never forget that you're my boss. And I think about it every day because you try to do justice, but you do justice for the community. Do it for you. Thank you.
All right, I will not walk around then, but I'm Larry Oppoff. I'm the state senator for the 22nd District. It includes Medina, Ashland, Richland, and portions of Holmes County. I am the president pro tem of the Senate, which is the #2 position in Senate leadership. I do intend, if the voters return me in November, to run for Senate President for the next General Assembly. The things that I've been focused on the most over the last 5 years cover a pretty broad range, but primarily I've tried to improve Ohio's economic situation and really focused on bringing well-paying jobs back to the state. We've done a lot lot of things in the last 5 or 6 years since I joined the legislature to help improve the marketplace. We've gradually improved Ohio's corporate law. We've done it in a bipartisan fashion. I've sponsored bills reforming Ohio's corporate laws along with the current minority leader in the Senate and with the previous minority leader in the Senate. We've cut taxes by more than almost any other state in the country by a net $5 billion since January 2011. We've changed the way we do regulations, so we've seen a 46% decrease in new regulatory filings. So we're really getting the red tape and regulation out of the way of small businesses. We've put a lot of the functions of economic development, taking them away from politicians and bureaucrats and giving them to people who've been successful in the private sector and understand how the economy works. Because of that, we're up about 438,000 net new private sector jobs. We've seen our unemployment rate go from 9.2% to 4.7%, and here in Medina County, 4.3%. So significant improvement. I've been heavily involved in criminal justice issues, and in particular battling the heroin epidemic, both by co-sponsoring bills, making Narcan more available so we could save more lives, but also trying to reform the way we do sentencing and get people drug treatment and educate kids at the front end so that they stay away from heroin. My time is up, but I'll be around afterwards to answer any questions if you've got any. Thanks.
Good morning. Good morning. What I love is following Senator Obhoff is we have two houses, the House and the Senate, and a lot of things he's talking about, and I have to reiterate a lot of the information. But many of you know me. For 18 years, I served as county commissioners. For 18 years, I can tell you also about my story. Took me 21 years to get from high school to get my PhD from the University of Akron. Worked hard. But what I want to really talk about for the whole 1 year and 10 months I've been serving, and as the honor of serving in the Ohio House of Representatives. Aside from 58,000 miles on my car, going back and forth, we've had 600 House bills introduced, 350 Senate bills. We've passed 179 House bills, 40 Senate bills. I have been primary sponsor of 11 bills and co-sponsor of 120. In those numbers, what have we done? Well, we've done quite a bit, as you heard from Senator Obhoff. Well, we've cut taxes in Ohio businesses and family by $1.2 billion. We've increased the state rainy day fund by almost $2 billion. We've even managed to help small business by helping to pay off the federal unemployment tax, if you will, the debt, saving $400 million in penalties for employers would have had to pay. We've increased aid to primary and secondary education by $850 million. We've increased aid to secondary education by $230 million. Charter school reform, House Bill 2 was an important step, move forward. We've got to do more in terms of reforming the charter school system, its funding, and the process. But one of the things I've learned, Napoleon Hill was a self-improvement author of the mid-20th century, and he said that patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. I would add to that also, what I found work is also prayerful reflection. In other words, we're not only working hard, but we're paying attention. We listen to all the evidence, all the opponents and proponents of legislation. We listen to the interested parties. We take everything into consideration. We look as to what is good, what we ought to be doing, and we try to pass that. And that's what we try to act upon. And I will continue to work with the Republican majority if elected, and to reduce our state tax burden, to improve the business climate. And I ask for your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. I want to thank you for having me because I know how important organizations like the Kiwanis Club are. I've been a Boy Scout all my life. My sister was a Girl Scout. We've been involved with programs like Boy State with the Legionnaires, and I know this isn't my first Kiwanis meeting, how much great work is done and what a role that you guys play in the community. And that's really the reason that I'm running, because you know, there have been a lot of good steps that have been taken, certainly in this district and in the State House. But there are a lot of people in this district, and I have met thousands and thousands of them, who do not feel that they really have representation as it stands right now. There are people who are struggling in this district. There are people who have questions regarding their constitutional rights to life, liberty, and property, and I think that that's a problem. And so I'm running because I want to represent real people, and I want to make sure that if somebody has a concern, you can go to your representative and they're going to be accountable to you. And so that's a pledge that I've offered to the thousands and thousands of people that I've spoken to who have come to me with concerns that they don't feel have been addressed by their representation, and that is that I will be available whenever you need me. And you can call at any time of day. I will be there to make sure that there are answers if you have concerns. And there are so many things that we could do as well to improve on actions that are being taken. I have the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police. It's because I spent a good amount of time speaking with them about the types of solutions that I believe we can put forward to fight the heroin crisis. I studied neuroscience and psychology at Baldwin Wallace, so I understand the science behind some of the solutions. I'm not seeing that in the State House. And with this crisis, answers that I've heard from different people about there being adequate resources or about the policies that we have in place being appropriate for the crisis are just not acceptable to me, because this is affecting people my age. And there are families who have lost people my age to this crisis. So I think for anybody to sit and say that we have adequate solutions right now is not good enough. I want to represent you in the State House by making sure that we have the latest solutions and we've got energy in our representation. So I want to thank you all so much again.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Kiwanis, for inviting me. I was here 2 years ago as a very nervous person who had never really stood up and campaigned for myself, so I feel a little more comfortable today. I am Rosalind Painter-Goffey. I am asking you to re-elect me to the State Board of Education District 5. I was elected 2 years ago to finish an uncompleted term, and now I'm asking for a full 4-year term. What are my qualifications? First of all, I've been on the board for 2 years, so I've begun to figure out how that board works. Second of all, I have over 30 years of experience in education, excuse me, as a teacher librarian. Excuse me. Third of all, I was a union president, so I understand working in collaboration with people. Fourth of all, I'm the mother of 3 and the grandparent of 9. Those of you who have that picture, it's incomplete. There was another one added after that picture was taken. On the state board, we don't pass laws. We look at policy, we make recommendations, and we do lots of things that people don't see and don't know about. But it does impact every teacher and every student and every school district in the state. This past year, we selected a brand new state superintendent of education, Paulo Di Maria. I think that's the finest thing that happened in my time there, because Mr. Di Maria, I think, is a person who will begin to do some of the damage I think that's occurred here in Ohio over the past few years. And he's a very collaborative person, and I think he will begin to move education forward in a different way. At the federal level, they've passed ESSA, which is Every Student Succeed Acts, and as a state, we have the opportunity to write our own plan going forward with much less federal interference. So I would like to be a part of that. I like to think that I speak for teachers and students and school districts on the board, and there are only 2 of us on the board who are actually retired teachers and who can bring that perspective to the discussion and the decisions that are made. So please vote to re-elect me on December 8th, and thank you.
Hey, good morning. My name is Lisa Woods, and I'm running for the 5th District, the Ohio State Board of Education. And I come from a military family. I have 5 children, 3 are still in school. And I also lead an organization called Medina County Friends and Neighbors for 8 years now, that where we bring candidates, elected officials, and people of any subject that might be important to us here in Medina County. I think the most important thing about education for me is being a parent and knowing what it's like when your kids come home with things and you don't understand what they're working on. My oldest son is 24, just got back from completing his training in the Marines, and also just got married a couple weeks ago. Aniki is in her 2nd year of college. She's going to Waynesburg, and she was homeschooled for 3 years. Went back into the public schools in 10th grade, did very well, took accelerated classes, and was able to, get a head start on college. Rhiannon is a senior, and she was homeschooled 1 year. And I have a daughter named Lily. She's 14. She started off at the Christian school, so I have a little experience with the private schools and then went on to public school. She is losing her ability to walk. She has an IEP. And so as a parent, I'm just saying that I know what it's like to have some of these special needs and the effects of how that's taken care of at your school. And then there's Bridger. He's in junior high. He's in 7th grade and doing quite well, and he's just has been in public schools. But the reason I tell you all this is because of having parental control and local control. But anyway, again, my name is Lisa Woods. I'm running for the school state store. Oh my gosh, I'm nervous, you guys. I'm sorry. Board of Education. I hope you'll consider voting for me. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. First off, I'd like to thank Kiwanis for all you do and the positive impact you make in this community I represent. My name is Mark KOLESAR. I'm running for a county commissioner. I've lived in the county for 33 years. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Megan. We go to church in Wadsworth at First Christian. I'm a deacon there, fifth grade Sunday school teacher, and I help with the youth group. Why Mark KOLESAR for Medina County Commissioner? Living and growing up in Medina County, I've built an impenetrable pride and passion for this area, its communities, and its people. I'm truly blessed to have had the opportunity, and I want to make sure we pass this quality of life down to future families and future generations. I believe I have the ability and proven record to provide a much-needed boost to the Commissioners Board. I've been an elected official for the last 12 years as a Medina City Councilman, and I have a track record of putting politics aside, taking every vote seriously, and looking out for the constituents I represent. During my tenure on City Council, I've pushed for a common sense approach. I look at each issue individually and make sure that when I vote, I'm voting for what's best, even if it's not the most popular choice. The voters want their representative to be transparent, honest, have a vision, and make sure the government is using taxpayers' dollars as wisely as possible. I truly understand that each taxpayer works very hard for their money, and they deserve a return on their investment. As an elected official in Medina for over a decade, I understand the ins and outs of government operations, annual budgets, multi-million-dollar infrastructure projects, strong safety services, labor negotiations, and making sure we're doing everything we can to keep our business community vibrant and strong. We have many challenges facing the county, and I'm ready to take on these challenges to keep Medina moving forward. Some of these challenges are job retention and creation, heroin epidemic, Medina County recycling, and the Nexus pipeline. That just to name a few. Let's get to work. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. My name is Bill Hutson, William Hutson, and I'm a candidate for Medina County Commissioner. My wife and I moved to Medina County 23 years ago and brought our 2 children with us. And we had a choice when we moved to this area from Columbus. And we looked at various counties in the area and decided that Medina County was the best county for us. We loved the people, we loved all the amenities and everything the county had to offer. And as a county commissioner, I want to make sure that we maintain that quality of life throughout the county. By way of professional introduction, I worked for Westfield Companies for 31 years in a variety of roles ranging from the legal department all the way up through executive roles, and managed a budget that was 8 figures. So I'm very, very familiar with managing large numbers and making sure that we get a return on our investment. While working at Westfield, I've also been the law director for the Village of Westfield Center and presently the law director for the village for the past 19 years. And in that role, I've worked on a whole host of public issues, everything from employment to contracts to negotiations and so forth. I was also on the Cloverleaf School Board. And I was on the school board at a very difficult time for Cloverleaf because we were in fiscal emergency. And one of the things that I vowed is that when the state came in and supervised the school, that they would not tell us to do anything that we knew we should have done ourselves. And I'm proud to say they didn't. We took command of the situation, we made the necessary cuts that were very, very difficult, and pulled the school through the crisis. I've also been on the Medina County Port Authority Board and have served on that board for the last 11 years. and we have worked on a whole host of economic development issues across the county. I've also served on a number of other boards, and my goal for the county is to maintain quality of life. Bill Hutson, candidate for County Commissioner, I thank you.
Good morning. I am Pat Geisman, and I've been your commissioner for the last 24 years. And before becoming commissioner, I was the executive director of the American Cancer Society Medina County unit. Also, I was a realtor with Coldwell Banker. And I even served on the Lodi Fire Department, where I live, as an EMT for 22 years. When an incumbent runs for office again, I believe they need to run on their record. And I'd like to share with you just a few of the initiatives that I have been able to accomplish over the last 24 years. And I think you've probably heard of all of them. The Railroad Safety Task Force. We have been able to make improvements of lights and gates at 24 crossings because of the task force. And the federal government came in and did another 12. So we have done all of this, over $5 million coming back to Medina County through state, federal, and foundation funds. Also, I started the Foreclosure Prevention Task Force, which helped people stay in their homes, help them get out from under their mortgage without ruining their credit. Another thing, while I was doing that, I noticed that there were other things other than just not being able to pay a mortgage. And someone said to me, "Do you know there's children going to bed hungry at night?" No, not in Medina County, it can't possibly be. But I organized a group. Today we have Feeding Medina County, and we're serving children, seniors, and families that are in need. We're giving them food, which is so very, very important. That's 3 of the initiatives I've taken. I've also been instrumental in bringing the battered women's shelter to Medina County. I worked with Judge Jill Heck in getting the juvenile detention center here in Medina County. So there are several things that I have been able to do. I've enjoyed it. I love being your commissioner. I love the quality of life issues and would like to continue working for you. Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning, Kiwanians. My name is Dave Wadsworth, your Medina County Clerk of Court. I was appointed in January of 2011 after the previous clerk retired and was elected to a full term in 2012. On a personal note, I've been married to my wife Barbara for 30 years. We have 3 daughters, all of whom are recent college graduates and have good jobs. I'm a parishioner at St. Ambrose Parish in Brunswick, a member of the Medina County Farm Bureau, the Fraternal Order of Eagles, and a life member of the National Rifle Association. The clerk's office is the business office of the County Common Pleas Courts. The clerk receives legal documents for filing, maintains the court records, and accounts for the costs, fines, and monies paid to the court. And we also take passport applications and distribute notary applications, just for the record, in case you're looking for one. The clerk also operates 3 auto title offices in Medina County. I manage a total of 39 employees at 4 different business locations and a $2+ million budget, and we handle about $50 million a year. I am a business manager. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration and 25 years of management experience. For over 8 years, I served as a part-time Brunswick City Councilman at large. And as your clerk of courts for over 5 years now, I've become a certified court manager after completing 3 years of courses through the Supreme Court's Ohio Judicial College. I've upgraded and modernized the clerk's office computer servers and desktop computers. I have improved customer service by adding a convenient 24/7 online pay system, and we have generated a surplus of over $1.4 million since 2011 by increasing auto title business and transferring monies to the county general fund. I respectfully ask for your vote November 8th.
Good morning, I'm John Burke. Many of you know I've been a lifelong resident of Medina County.
Graduated from Medina High School and Miami University, got my BA and MBA degree from there. Over my career, I've been real involved in the community. I've served as treasurer for 29 times for various private and nonprofit organizations. That's including 10 years as chief financial officer of the AI Root Company, and since 1994, I've been your county treasurer. So how have I done as your county treasurer? Well, using sound investment strategy over the years, we've been able to bring in $53 million in extra interest income for the county. That goes to the general fund, that helps to pay for expenses, and it's enough to run the county free for a year and a half. We have a collection rate on tax bills of 98%. The delinquent amount, we've collected $137 million. That's another record high. And if you add those two figures together, that's $190 million of extra revenue to the county. That helps to pay for services and helps to keep our taxes lower and keep our quality of life. It's the equivalent of saving $3,900 per family in Medina County. I've also kept my office lean. My budget this year is less than it was in 2005. I've expanded services, fix-it funds, low-interest home improvement loans. We've given that to 865 people, $12.5 million. We've helped people get unclaimed funds, $1.5 million, and we've helped 4,400 people do that. The Treasurer's Office, though, has a cash flow of $553 million a year. Our average portfolio any given day is $85 million. Investment experience is essential, and I'm proud to have been named Ohio's Public Fund Manager of the Year. I have the education, certification, qualifications, experience, and track record to continue as your county treasurer. I ask for your vote for re-election. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Colleen SWEDYK. I have been your county recorder for 10 years. I have also been a Kiwanian for 10 years. I'm a member of the Medina Noon Kiwanis. Thank you for having us this morning. Our office is really doing well at the recorder's office. For the last few years, we have upgraded our software. We've launched electronic recording. Documents can now be electronically recorded instead of coming to the office. In the last 6 months, we've added electronically recording deeds. We are one of only 8 counties in Ohio that can electronically record deeds. We did that in collaboration with the engineer's office and the auditor's office. The biggest thing that we've done in the last few years is that our documents are now online. You no longer have to come into the recorder's office to pick up a copy of your deed or mortgage. You can go right online, right to our website. It's very simple, and pull off a copy of your documents just by putting your name, your address, or your parcel number in. We also have a Veterans ID program that we launched about 3 years ago, long before it became mandated by law. And to date, we have served over 6,000 veterans in Medina County with Veterans IDs. While doing all this, we have always, in my office, focused on fiscal responsibility. We operate now on 35% less funds than we did 10 years ago, which I'm really proud of. In my next term, I'd like to start offering credit cards for payment, scan some of our older books so we can get them online, but always remembering that fiscal responsibility and spending your tax dollars should be taken seriously every single minute. Thank you.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here again. From time to time, I've appeared before this group, as have my assistants, in our efforts to keep the community abreast of what we're doing in the office. My name is Dean Holman. I'm your Medina County prosecutor. I'd like to thank the Morning Kiwanis for putting on this forum. I've had the honor and pleasure of being your county prosecutor for 28 years, and during that time, I've emphasized fair and aggressive prosecution. We in the office believe in the dignity of people. We believe in that people have the right to have integrity in their persons and in their property, the right to hold and maintain property without interference of others. I've supervised 14,000 felony cases since I've been your county prosecutor, and throughout all of those, we've emphasized fair and aggressive prosecution. I've personally handled hundreds of cases, tried hundreds of cases. I'm the only candidate in this race who has stood in front of a jury as a county prosecutor and tried murder cases, child rape cases, arson cases, burglary cases. I'm the only candidate that has advised or represented a public body. I started the Victim Assistance Program in 1989. When I first took office in 1989, victims were not allowed to speak to the court at sentencing. And I immediately started to fight that program. My prosecutors and I were told by the judges who were in office at the time, and they thought they were following Ohio law by doing that. They forbid us to speak orally at sentencing, so I started filing sentencing briefs. And then I started supporting a statute that gave victims the right to speak at sentencing. And for starting the Victims Assistance Program, I was conferred the Public Policy Leadership Award by then Chief Justice Tom Moyer. We're addressing the heroin problem in the office in numerous ways. I have assigned an assistant prosecutor, and I'm seeking his cross-designation as a special assistant United States attorney, because we're working with the United States Attorney and the DEA and federal authorities on drug cases. So we'll be working in conjunction with them, and he'll be working with them. I appreciate your time. I'd ask for your consideration and vote on November 8th. Thank you.
Good morning. As a past president of the Wadsworth Lions Club, I certainly understand the good work that these community organizations do, and I applaud them. I am your Republican candidate for the Medina County Prosecutor's Office. I have served for the last 22 years as an attorney here in Medina County. I've seen my service as an attorney as an extension of my dedication to public service that I believe initiated when I was in the military. I served for 8 years in various locations, both in the United States and out of the United States. I served in a law enforcement capacity. We focused primarily in anti-terrorism and explosives detection. That was my job. I loved it. It's one of those jobs in the military where it's great because there's not a lot of supervision. Now, being here in Medina County, we've heard time and again that people grew up here in Medina County. Well, I didn't. We didn't have enough people where I come from to have a hometown, so I had to find one. I found that in Wadsworth, and I found it in Medina County. We have touched on heroin epidemic on numerous occasions through other speaking engagements. I have advocated since before I became a candidate for the prosecutor's office an amnesty-style program much like that Hamilton County, Ohio, has already adopted. We have similar programs here in the state, or in the Medina County. I want to take that a step further. I want to move that to believe, I believe that the primary issue is we cannot prosecute our way out of a heroin crisis. We can't prosecute it out, we can't police it out. We need to be able to create interdiction. We need to be able to create an environment where users can get off without going through the criminal system. I also believe that there are many other issues that we can update and we can improve. And finally, I want to say this. I have a tremendous respect for Mr. Holman, and I believe that he's done a wonderful job for these years. I want to continue that work. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Keith Mundy. I'm running for Congress against Jim Renacci. I was born in Akron, raised in Summit County, went to HUTSON, attended the University of Akron. I've had a couple of businesses in my life. Many of you probably remember Space Invaders. I was that guy that came out with the Addicted Space Invaders t-shirt, and we sold a few. And our next business, we were in the video game business. We did so well with that t-shirt that all the department stores wanted to have something to show. We were out selling Levi's that summer. So we went and we put video games in every store. My business that I'm in right now, I own court delivery. We're in the legal business. We push paper, serve the subpoenas, do the legal research. We also do some investigative work. Our focus is labor law. As a congressman, the most important thing you do is speak for the people. The people have got to be taken care of. They have to be listened to. Under our present, right now, with what's happening in Congress, we've noticed that they're obstructionists. They're not getting the job done. We really do need some fresh blood. My background is, my political background is only 15 months. I started the Bernie Sanders movement here in Northeast Ohio, and from that, I decided that we needed to have somebody run for office regular people run for office. Almost everybody here today that has spoken are professional politicians. One thing I'm not is a professional politician. I'm just a person like you. These are the kind of people we need to send to represent us. We need regular people, not people that have already been ingrained in the political system and already know the direction they're going to go with everybody else. Well, that's fast, isn't it? Thank you very much for letting me speak today, and if you need to talk to me, I'll be here afterwards.